You mean before the space shuttle?
Before the space shuttle.
Well,
how many times were they used?
They weren't used.
Well, before the space shuttle, whenever I thought the space shuttle was the first one that could land and be used again.
Oh, right.
Because for me as a little girl, that was fascinating because it felt like an airplane that was going out into outer space.
Exactly.
It didn't feel like a rocket or anything like that. It was, and I think maybe it's because I don't know where my dad was stationed, but it was a really big deal.
Right, it was.
That we had this aircraft that would land like a plane on a runway.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, that was important as well. And one, I think it was very important because the Congress and all the politicians was well, maybe they all wasn't for it because you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But we really did have our nation rallying for NASA, to build the space shuttle. And but the most important key I feel is that it kind of gave us an edge on technology. And believe it or not, a lot of medical spin-offs had resulted from a lot of the work on the shuttle. Like laser vision. Even some of the diabetes. Some research some of the work that's been done there has aided in that, and a lot of medical spin-offs. And you can actually go to nasa.gov, www.nasa.gov, and you can find some of the different spin-offs of how the work that they do up there, how it helps us in everyday today. But the main thing is that we had a edge over the whole nation, the whole world, really, and it seems like today we're losing that edge because we don't really have all the politicians and the Congress people really rallying around how important the space program is. So
yeah, and that is very interesting about the spin-offs between medical advances and space exploration or conquest. One thing I was thinking as you were talking about how there's a danger of losing our edge, so to speak, because I hear frequently people saying, well, America's falling behind because our children aren't getting stronger in math and science. Well, we know now that there are some students out there who are getting stronger in those disciplines. And then you mentioned about politicians, and we're not going to call anybody out negatively speaking. However, we need to have these type of discussions, have people in the industry come here, inspire our children, but also this needs to be seen by those in the community. Get in touch with your politician, make sure that they're pushing to support these children who are preparing, is what I feel.
Definitely.
One of the other things I noticed in reading about you, Angela, was that a lot of the accolades and accommodations that you've received are based on outstanding member, outstanding committee member, outstanding team member. It seems like you seem to shine or stand out as someone who lifts a team. Can you talk about that a little bit?
That's really interesting because as an engineer, when I was kind of doing test engineering and working with wind tunnel tests and analyzing data, it was more like an individual kind of job, I guess, in your own little cubicle. But when I did the detail, I worked in project management, which project management is more of a team, but it's more of a higher level because that's where all the funding comes from for the projects that you're doing in your little toolbox, like the engineer that I was doing before. But on project management scale, you really have to work as a team. And so I just think that, I don't know, I just think that I really like working with people better than being in my little cubicle. And I guess, I guess it just showed. And then too, I guess overall, really, even though I worked in my own little cubicle, I still had to work with my coworkers. I mean, even when I was working at the Aircraft Landing Dynamics facility in the Structural Dynamics branch, I wrote papers. I wrote technical papers, and there was like, on some papers I was the first author. On other papers I might have been the third author. So it was still a team effort.
I think one of the things that's very important to get across to our students and to all the students that are watching is when you finish school, even when you're in school, you want to be the person that your peers, your professors, your administrators, you want them to know your name as the one who is dependable and accountable and responsible, and that they can call on you, and then there's no second guessing. It's like, well, you know, that Angela girl, she did well on this one but not so well on that one. You don't want to be that person.
Right, exactly.
You know?
That's good that you bring that up, because I kind of have this little, I guess it's like a poem or a saying, a quote called Believe, and I take each letter from Believe and go through with the students, you know, like believe in yourself, E, educate yourself, L, set long-range goals, and I tell them how, give them examples of how if they got a C, how they could set a goal to bring it up to an A, you know, just on their level, and then V, if you do those things, then you'll have victory ahead, and then E, you know, elevate. But the main thing, and the I part is I talk about integrity. When you talked about being trustworthy and being, and I asked, do you know what integrity means? Because that's a word that a lot of kids don't even know, even a lot of adults don't even know anymore about integrity, you know.
Very important.
And the way I just say it very simply is that doing the right thing when nobody is looking, and that's what integrity is. And it's just so important to, you know, some people might think you're a goody two shoes or whatever, but I'm telling you, it pays off when you do the right thing. It really does pay off.
Yeah, the seeds that you sow, you know what I mean? You gotta sow good. Yeah, you gotta sow good seeds if you want to reap good fruit.
Right.
And you mentioned about teamwork, Doc. I see you sitting there and taking this great information in, but I just see a connection